it like okay, saying that there's a live stream or something going.
You hit okay?
Got it, boss.
Right. We're good there.
Ready, boss?
Mm-hmm.
I hit record. What's up, Crash Nation? This is Jonathan Wood. Today I've got joining me Dylan Cardwell and Corey Burton, members of the Wild Card Racing team. First of all, I want to say thank you guys for coming on the Crashed It podcast, sitting down and talking with me today.
No problem.
Thank you.
So before we get too far into you guys, I always like to give like an introduction to our listeners. They kind of like to know backstories and stuff. So we'll just start with you, Dylan. Um, how'd you get started in figure eight racing or
Uh, grow,
demolition derby?
yeah, growing up, I had to listen to all my dad's big derby stories. He used to derby back in the day, and then I went and watched my cousin derby a few times and kind of decided I want to get into something along them lines. Went to New Bloomfield, watched Braden and Zach and Corey run, and figured out figure eight racing was where it was at. So last winter, me and Dad decided to throw a couple of cars together and take them out there and give it a try. So that's kind of how we got started.
Yeah. What about you, Corey?
I kind of coming from a racing background. My grandpa raced, my dad, my uncles, they all raced. My dad actually raced figure eight before. I started about 2006 and raced a year. Toyota Tercel. Didn't have much luck running with Jordan Tobin and a few other guys, and just didn't really have many people around that did it. So we stopped, went back to the mud race and tractor pulling, and sat around for a few years. And about 2020, my little brother kept coming to the shop and just talking about how much fun he was having and everything with racing. And he brought a car over here for me to work on. And I was itching to get back in anyhow. And he brought the car over and he said, I built this car, but the junker won't run. So here it is. You can just have it. So he dropped it off, and I didn't do anything but start her up, and she took off, and I finished the car and raced it and got hooked. And it was from then on, I got back in the little itch and kept racing.
Started kicking Zach's ass from there.
And that was the main focus. As long as I'm kicking Zach's ass, we're all good.
Well, let's talk about this. You said as a Toyota Tercel, our viewers on uh that are tuning in live with our YouTube channel right now, they can see your first car, Corey. Tell us a little bit about it. You said it was a Toyota Tercel.
Yeah, that's a Toyota Tercel. That's pretty basic car. Very little cage. As you can see, just a chain holding the hood down. I mean, really basic. No bumpers, not much at all. But I think I was about 14 or 15 back then, and I mean, it was a big thing to me. But she's pretty basic. No headers that I love, but it was a pretty simple car.
Yeah, this is kind of gives me flashbacks to whenever I was in it hot and heavy. This is our typical build that we kind of had when we first started. You threw a chain around the
Yep.
bumper and ran it through the hood and hoped it stayed on. That kind of, we hoped that it, if the bumper fell off, you had a chance to keep it on by holding it up with chains. And I can't see the side of it, but it looks to me that you didn't really have any door bars.
No.
Probably
I
just
think we had,
grater blades on the
yeah,
outside.
yeah, there's grater blades on the outside, no door bar.
Yeah, that brought back memories. Before the podcast started, I had both Dylan and Corey Burton, my kids in the background, send me some pictures of their first build, and Let's see here. I've got to find.
I'm pretty sure I ran both of them cars. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So Corey, tell us sorry, Dylan,
Yes,
this
Dylan.
was your first build.
Yep. First
For
one we
figure
ran at
eight right here.
Russellville. What's that?
So how'd that fare out? First time in the seat. This is a newer build. This is from last year, if I'm not mistaken. A lot more time and effort goes into the cars these days. And how how did it? How did your build come along? Being a beginner in the sport, did you have people helping you out with the
We
first build, or?
we had a little bit of advice from the Burtons, but that was about it. And that's not even that good of advice. Just depends on who you ask. But we didn't think we needed a hard sided or nothing. Just kind of threw a cage in it and pretty basic header, tune computer, and went to Russellville and loaded. Started looking around. We're like, all right, yeah, we're outclassed a little bit. Then the first race went pretty cool with it. Drew my dad in my heat. It was my birthday too, so beat him in my heat. Went on to the feature and just got smoked from like every direction. Brought it home, doors all caved in, so we figured we better restart and hard side it, go back and rebuild the car. So it was a learning experience with that car. A lot of seat time in it.
One of the first things I noticed as an announcer, I try to come up with nicknames for people, and I didn't have to for you because you already had a Joker symbol on the roof sign and everything like that.
Oh yeah.
And where did the Joker on the roof sign come from?
So my dad used to run the big car derbies, and he always ran like the villain as his name. So I wanted something kind of along them lines, and we came up with a wild card racing thing. I'm like, well, wild card Joker kind of fits together, so just kind of fell into place. We went with the Joker name, and then seemed like a cool little design to put on there, and just kind of stuck around. Seemed to work out.
We seen your numbers on the pictures. We have 28B. Corey, how'd you get your number? Is there a
We,
backstory to that?
yeah, my grandpa raced. He raced 88. My uncle races 8, and my dad always was 85. So it was always an 8 number, and I was really close to my grandpa. He passed away when I was really young, but his was 88, so 2 8. So that's where I come up with the 2 and come up with 28, and that's just kind of stuck from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I always love hearing the backstories of people's numbers. And right off the bat, we've got the YouTube chats open. I just checked on it. Jake Timbrook said, "Man, them hats are sharp." Corey gave me this hat, and he said he's gonna be giving away a few. Oh shoot, you can't even see it. Well, the same hat Corey's wearing.
I got
Um,
Jake's. I got Jake's hiding out. It's got his name on it.
so there
I
you
tried to
go,
get him to
Jake.
give me some. He wouldn't give me any. Try to get him put my number
All
on
right.
and everything else.
When
So
you're
these
this good
hats are.
looking, when you're this good looking, you don't need a hat.
I
So
told him that earlier before we got on.
You have that much hair, you don't need a hat, I
that's
guess.
Yeah,
right.
you bald people don't have that luxury.
That's right. Um, so are these hats going to be for sale? Like, are you going to sell them out to the public, or?
If they want them, it doesn't make much difference. We just Nick and I ordered a couple sleeves of them and just kind of hand them out to family and stuff like that. But if Nick and I both learn how to drive, we'll hand them out.
There you go. Yeah, they're nice hats. They're Richardson hats, and those are my favorite brand. And he's got a really good design up here with his number and stuff. Dylan, how'd you get your number?
I'm like the biggest basketball fan in the world. So grew up watching Steph Curry. Love the number 30 after that. I've coached and played basketball. It's kind of been my number for all of that. So just kind of carried along into the derby stuff. And then I threw the C behind it just because that's kind of what we do.
Oh, that's where it comes from. I was
Yeah.
wondering where all these deep shots are coming from, but you're a Curry fan. He
Oh, I
likes
love
throwing
Steph Curry.
long range bombs, so
Oh
that's
yeah.
where it comes at.
Oh yeah. 6'4", and I don't think I stepped inside the arc at all when I played basketball. I just shot him deep.
Yeah. So a lot of people are wondering, and so am I. Kind of last year, probably halfway through the year, we started seeing all these wild card racing stickers, and heck, I think I seen like a design that was drawn up on like a computer screen that maybe t-shirts were made off of. Maybe I don't really know, but how'd the wild card racing come about? Who's on the team? Are there so yeah? How'd that come about?
Dylan?
So to start the season, before we even started, Corey called me like 3 times. Hey, I heard you're getting into racing. Want to be on a team? I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm not really sure about the team thing. Seems like a lot of work, so kind of pushed it to the side. Then started the season and kind of parked by each other. I've known them forever, so we just kind of stayed friends with the New Bloomfield guys and went throughout the season. Had a little bit of fun happen and broke a couple of cars. And the night before Jeff City, I needed the rack steering in my car fixed, and I knew Corey had a lip. So I called him up and was like, hey, need this done. He's like, bring it over. So we were out here till 11:30, 12 o'clock that night. Went home. When me and Dad were both like, all right, yeah, we need to do this team thing. It's pretty helpful, pretty handy. And called Corey up, and we just went from there.
So more or less, you fell in love with my lift.
That's pretty well, just using your
Okay.
lift.
He knew he
That's
couldn't
all you
pass.
gotta have.
He knew he couldn't pass 28B, so
He's so full of crap. He begged
he
me to be
knew
on the
he
team.
better join it.
He called me 4 or 5 times. He's like, man, we have got to start up a team with you guys. You guys are just so cool. I'm like, well, kept pushing him off. And finally, about halfway through the season, I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do this. Me and Dad both kind of, yeah,
That's partially true, Dylan.
that's mostly true.
We definitely have seen, I'd want to say like the last few years, the real uptick in like teams coming out, just a bunch of groups of people, and everyone's throwing in hands on the cars, and it's got to be a major help. I mean, growing up, I always had my brothers that we'd help each other here and there, and um, I know, man, if you're by yourself, or even if it's just one and other person, and you don't have a bunch of people to help on the cars, that could get pretty, stressful throughout the year. And I'm sure just having just the overall like team spirit and stuff like that helping you out and
Oh, yeah,
maybe
it helps
pushing
out a
you to
ton.
do a little better for the team or
Yeah, I think just the fact that we want to beat each other so much pushes us to drive better. Because as soon as we joined the team, the shit talk started. I mean, every race, Corey's out there running his mouth. I'm like, as long as I place higher than Corey tonight, I'll be fine. And I think that made it more fun, have a little bit of rivalry there too.
You will not find a more confident person than Dylan.
Oh man, our team talks so much crap to each other. If you read our group chat, you would swear we hated each other. I mean, oh, it's ruthless.
oh yeah. Well, that seems to be the themes around the garages I've seen. Just having people on here, man, the abuse is free, and I guess if you aren't getting messed with, you'd probably wonder if something was wrong. So
We're just trying to toughen him up a little. It's all right.
The Burtons are the mouthy ones. I swear y'all watch them too.
so who's all on the team?
So it's me, Dad, Corey, Zach, Braden Clee Thermos, Corey's mom, Angie, and then Anthony Wells is coming out of retirement to be on the team too. And Nick.
He's a
Nick Long.
good addition there. Anthony's a heck of a driver. And
He claims to be. I don't know if he is. He told me to talk some smack for him on here. I'm like, I don't know, man. He's pretty confident.
he's got some hardware to back it up. So
Oh yeah. He reminds me all the time.
and so how's the off season going so far? You guys been working on anything new or have you got anything started?
We got some new stuff coming along. I mean, just a bunch of junk, more or less. I guess your brother's not on here, so
No, Jacob wanted to come on here, but he's like me and Joshua. We both coach
yeah.
basketball and
Yeah, I
we
showed
all
up to the
coach
game
and-
tonight. I walk in and Josh is coaching. I'm like, had absolutely no idea he coached for Discombia. Kind of threw me off. I had to look at the pamphlet. I'm like, yeah, that's who I thought it was.
Yeah, I seen your Snapchat. Where'd he play at?
New Bloomfield.
Yeah, see, we're all so busy with sports with our kids and stuff, and he's coaching high school basketball. So this time of the year is super busy for them guys because they're trying to meet with fair boards and do all the stuff on the side that the promoters have to do, and then you're throwing basketball and all the other stuff we do. And trying to get ready for Carnage and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
No, the wife more or less told me. She said you better go all out if you're gonna go. So we're not quite going all out, but I've spent quite a bit of money and quite a bit of time on the new car, and hopefully she performs.
Don't let them fool you. It's gonna be a good car.
We just dropped the motor in tonight to do some wiring and front end's left, and we're ready to roll.
Yeah, last year you had a pretty decent build too. Coming out the bass boat paint scheme.
Yeah, we
I
won't do
think
that again. No stickers. Stick to that. It's terrible.
So for all the listeners that are tuned in across the America and all the other countries that I see, these guys last year they had um, like a sparkly bass boat red paint scheme. Corey and Nick Long had that paint scheme last year, and I thought it looked pretty sharp in the sun. I mean, you can see your car shining, the glitter and stuff in the paint. Uh, but maybe
you're
that's
not-
why it rains so much.
If
I
you're not
mean,
fast, you gotta at least look fast. You gotta look good.
I've been on to paint his car red and white this year. I think that's what he's gonna go with. Red car, white cage, right?
Definitely not.
It's the best looking car. I mean,
so throughout the years building, what do you guys think about the progression that you're seeing in the sport? Even Dylan, what do you think? I mean, you've been watching from afar and been competing a little here and there, and now you're really jumping into it. It sounds like so.
yeah.
Um,
Dad raced, I mean, probably 9 or 10 years ago, figure eight. So I still remember that. We went to Jeff City and then Mocaine, and watching that, I was like real young, like, oh yeah, it's pretty cool. So when we started to do this again, we kind of went off that. We're like, yeah, he's done this before. And he's like, I'm not seeing any races, but we'll just go kind of off what I remember. I'm like, all right. So we threw that car together, and like I said, showed up and backed off the trailer. We're like, we might as well go home, look around. I mean, it's crazy. I think it's good for the sport. It makes it more fun to watch, but a lot different than it used to be.
Yeah, it's
how
definitely
you
not a throw together.
No.
No. And I think that's why last year and the year before they had that stock build class.
Yeah,
But
The
even,
hobo.
yeah, the hobo class, and man, at all the fairs shows, they did that. So the guys that spend countless hours in the shop building their cars and stuff kind of don't have to worry about someone taking them out during fair seasons, because some of them guys, they come for a great time and they're
oh
there to
yeah.
put on a show for their buddy, and they've got side bets on who's going to take out the most cars and
Oh yeah.
all
Some of
kinds
them
of
should be in the
craziness.
hobo, and they still try to step up and run. And you're always like, man, these guys are a little outclassed right now. Kind of stay away from them.
Oh, we we sit there in the inspection line, and we got cars lined up through the whole pit area, and these guys are coming up with cars they built the night before. Maybe they just stripped it out. For those that are listening that don't have a good visual, they strip the cars out and maybe paint a number on the side and call it good. They might have one bar running behind the seat, and they're going against cars of fully built front ends, basically mod compacts out
Oh
there.
yeah, it's ridiculous. Like if you hit
And
this car hard with your front end, you're gonna tear up a good Cavalier out there built for hobo.
but I get sidetracked on this chat.
Yeah, what are you sending out the Cavalier for?
Well, I'm not. I'm not like Cavaliers are good. I'm saying they're wasting a good Cavalier out there with a hobo build.
Yeah. Oh no.
Don't get all sensitive with your Cavaliers. I swear.
It's crazy.
Going.
These guys show up, they want to go for the big money, and I get that. And I honestly, I feel like it brings a whole new aspect to the season, because you got the first of the season where no one wants to tear up their cars. Everyone's trying to stay clean, um, because everyone's worked their tails off all season, or maybe they're working on a car that they, rebuilt from the last season. They're going to try to make it a whole nother year with that car. And then we get into the fair season, and it gets wild, because you have to know kind of driver tendencies, and then you got, I've always called them wild cards out there that you never know what they're gonna do or how they're gonna drive, and you got to dodge them, and it adds a whole new aspect to the field. And then by the end of the season, everybody's ready to kill each other, and we're just like, man, it's brutal out there on the track. Rivalries have formed, and we get little sideshow demolition derbies out there. But I checked the points for the demo derby, Dylan, and I didn't see your points on there for that one.
Yeah, I figured I'd get that one sooner or later.
So no points for the derby and the figure eight.
I probably should have got
Uh,
points. I mean, missed the feature that night. Could have given me a little more in the heat, I guess.
Yeah,
I
I've
looked at the
always
YouTube chat there real quick. It's kind of cracking me up. I could have guessed Zach and Anthony being there talking.
oh yeah. James is on there too. Fisher, he's talking about getting ripped up down the side.
Oh yeah,
But
Oh, gosh.
of course Zach's on there.
What's Zach saying?
I wish I could figured out a way to put it up here so that everyone can see like
Yeah, we got to
that's
get that going.
talking. But
Zach said my car took a beating from hitting all the tires last year. That's something I hear about a lot. Hit like 2 tires all season. First year ever running. That's all they bring up.
If we can get Dylan to not look back, not worry about where he's been and where he's going, and leave the damn tires alone, we got it won.
Like every day, somebody will text
I
me.
mean,
Like,
we
oh, watch
seen
out
all
for the
kinds
tires.
of stuff out of the wild card racing team. We seen cars parking in the berms. We
Hitting skid
seen
steer.
cars hitting tires, hitting skid steers.
Hey, one
But
thing about it, we make it exciting. All right, at least
yeah.
fun to watch.
You know, Coach Tony, he told me, he said, Turner and stand on it. That's what I did. I turned the
That's not
steering
what he
wheel and
said.
stood on it, and skid steer was in the way.
Corey gets
I
easily
think you broke
entertained
the
with that
rack.
header clap.
So you talked about building this year. Did you guys run into any hurdles or anything that kind of hung you up that you weren't expecting during the build? Because we got a lot of new guys that are constantly messaging me, coming in the sport, a lot of young guys, and it makes me excited. I love helping people out and giving them pieces of advice, but sometimes it's best to hear it from the people that are actually building the cars. And um, did you run into any hurdles or anything that you weren't expecting to, or anything that hung you up that you thought took longer than it should have?
Not really. I'm building a pretty basic Grand Am, and Dad built one last year, so we're gonna put his back on the track. So I mean, it's been pretty mellow in the shop, just kind of knowing hard side and stuff, knowing what to do already. That's been pretty helpful. Been a couple things, but nothing too major. Mostly just trying to tell Corey what he's been doing wrong, trying to get him help fix his car.
That's true.
Well, one thing I always look forward to when I hear people are building new cars, and um, I get Snapchats and stuff, and I just like seeing what people are going to try and see kind of the new ingenuity that you see every year. It amazes me. People come up with things, and I'm like, man, I never thought about that. It might work. And then there's things I'm like, that ain't gonna work at all. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. And then you see something that you never thought of that ends up being a staple in the sport, and everybody's got it. Man, I can't. I want to say 2006 or seven. We pull into California, and I want to say it was Dustin Jordan had these freaking mud flaps on the side of his tires on his sidewalls, and we're all like, "What the hell? He can't do that," you know? And well, yeah, he can. Doesn't say it in the rules, and they allowed it, and we're like, man, at the very next race, everybody and their brother had them on there, and I mean, that was just a very cheap ingenuity way of keeping your sidewalls in, and man, it's still there. You seen on Dylan's car that I had earlier up on the screen that he's had his sidewalls on, and I just always look forward to seeing what's people gonna try. What's the new thing coming down the line? And
Always
then
gotta try something new. Like a V6 and a Cobalt, you never know what you're gonna see.
I'll tell you something. I'm building my daughter a car right now, and man, learning the wiring on a Camry is so much different than what I'm accustomed to. And I've been watching a bunch of videos and just learning different ways to go around the wiring. That way I can cut some of it out without ruining her car. And I've been known to ruin a few cars during the build process, so trying to avoid that this year. Uh, but that was something that I'm kind of thankful. I'm really thankful for YouTube and just other people in the Derby community you can reach out to if you have questions. I've actually talked to Corey a couple times and some other drivers, the Wartenhausens that I've known had some Camrys and stuff like that. And, they've been really helpful to me figuring that out. So if you're new in the sport, the best thing I gotta tell you is um, build your car the best you can and reach out and talk to people. They'll tell you some things. They ain't gonna tell you everything, but they'll tell you enough to get you where you need to be. And it's just it's awesome the camaraderie that you got in figure eight. Sometimes people don't realize that are in the outside world that even though you guys are on teams, I see different team members at people's shops and you guys are all hanging out. And what was it? I think it was last weekend you guys had some kind of cornhole tournament or something.
Yeah,
Um,
we were at DBR.
DVR had cornhole going, so
Cleaned up on the
uh,
cornhole tournament.
who won?
Me and Nick won one tournament deal, and then we just played a lot of small games, but I did pretty good. Left with a little bit more money, and I showed up with. I was pretty happy about that. I figured I was going to get my ass whooped pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna have a party this weekend with the Super Bowl. Uh,
It was a good time. Everybody was in a pretty good mood. Everybody getting along. It was good to see. Fun to go to.
yeah. It's always fun. The relationships that you guys build off the track, and it usually carries on to the track. You'll realize that people want to race you. They just want to race you like you race them, and um, it seems like it makes for better racing on everybody's end. So, if you had a car of choice for figure eight racing, what would be your car of choice? Whoever you wants to go first.
Go for it, Dylan.
Grand Am. That's what I'm going with this year. It seems like a pretty good car of choice. It's kind of what we sat down and picked out. Seemed like it'd go good.
And Zach, I'm not selling the Camry. My daughter's set to try to put on a show with that thing and not junk it the first show, but she probably will. We took
Zach
it
would
out in the
lowball you
field.
too. Zach would offer you
We
like
took,
$75.
well, yeah, we took it out in the field for her first test drive, and we were going about 50 mile an hour across the field, and she decided to. First of all, she didn't know where the brakes were really that good. And the second thing she wanted to do is once we got going really good, she wanted to see how far she could turn it to go around the corner. And I was like, all right, we got to shut this down until we get a roll cage in this thing. So, oh, yeah, she's definitely looking forward to it. And she'll probably make some junk out there.
When the old Camry gives up on her, I'll always have a Cavalier ready for her to go.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sticking with the Cavaliers. They've been good to me. I know they're weaker cars, but I've got plenty of them, and that's what we're gonna go with.
That's honestly, that's always been my favorite Cavalier or Sunfire. That's what I've always did best in. So that's why I like the way they turn. I
Yeah.
figured out the way they turn, and it worked for me and my driving style. So that's what I chose to stick with.
The wife says I got maybe another year or two after this, so I think I got plenty of cars to last till then.
Oh,
As you could tell, last year I had to redo a closet to get the car, and now I'm not sure what we're gonna do to the house this year, but I'll be there.
I was waiting for the addition or something Because last year he's sending me Snapchats. Got to get this closet done so I go racing. It's
Oh yeah, it was a sun porch this year, so we're good there.
he did awesome building that closet. So, what's your guys' favorite track? Do you have a favorite track or atmosphere that you like to go to?
I don't know. I have to pick hometown New Bloomfield track. I don't like it because they won't let me they won't let me extend it out. They won't let me do what I want to it. But it's our hometown show, and most time I get to build a track. I can't quite. I can't get the fire department to listen. I mean, so this year we will be there before the fire department gets there, so they don't put 3,000 gallons on the
Oh,
far end of the track and screw it up. But I can assure that I feel cultivated it and worked it in several times. It was level as it can be. It was a good track, and then the fire department, as soon as I got there, said, "Oh, we went ahead and put 3,000 gallons on the far end." So I don't know, but Russellville seems to be the track that helps me out. I mean, Russellville's good. That's probably my favorite, really. I mean, Russellville's a good track. It's big. I don't know. It always seems to treat me well. Dylan?
Russellville, 100%. I'm not lost a heat at Russellville yet. Knock on wood. It's like the only track that does good to me.
well, you
So
better keep that streak going.
I'm gonna try my
First
best. I don't know
racing
if it'll
season.
happen, but I'm gonna try. And I did lead the feature at the race for 28 for like a whopping 3 laps until my tie rod broke. But best 3 laps of my year. I keep reminding Corey about it.
Dan, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you're going to have a hand in the new track that's coming along. That's going to be a little farther north than New Bloomfield. Hopefully, we get that scheduled.
Yep. They'll drop that later on, but it's yep. That, I've seen and I know exactly where it is, but they'll talk about that. They're gonna bring that out later on. They're still working out some details with that one, but
Good
there
deal.
will be another new track this year.
Well, I like to hear.
But I'll let them bring that out, but I'm glad you know about um I think, that they that track's been good to me in the past. That's all I'm gonna say.
We cut him off guard.
Yeah,
Look at him.
he's all nervous now.
No, I'm just changing subjects before I say too much because I'll let them bring that stuff out. Um, so you told us your favorite tracks. You kind of told us a little bit of why, but so what's your favorite part of racing? The actual um racing, like what what's your favorite part of it? Is it when you're in the starting line? Is it when you're on the track with your buddies, or is it just the competition, or is it the fan? I mean, what is it? What's your favorite part of racing?
I would say just all of us getting together and having a good time. I mean, yeah, I love the racing, but I mean, I have a hell of a lot more fun with all the guys getting together in the shop and at the track, and we're barbecuing, we're having a good time. I mean, we're not singling. I mean, we all run with all the New Bloomfield guys. We're not. I mean, we have our little team, but we're still running with them too. So, I mean, we all get together and we have a good time.
Yeah, and I've noticed it's kind of, man, it's like a town versus town versus town versus town out there. You've got all these, as I'm announcing, I could say like three different towns, but you might have 4 cars per town out there
Oh yeah.
that are going against each other, and you kind of tell like those guys from the same town whenever it comes down to it, if they're having a bad race or whatever, and the other guy's having a good race, you see them waving them on, or maybe you're waving your brother on, and it costs them a race or
That's
something.
never happened. Did
Yeah,
we
I'm just
see
saying.
that? Did we see that Russellville when he pulled the old brake trick and I couldn't get around?
Everybody's saying it.
Okay.
It was hard to miss. We
Oh,
were
I
all
see
yelling
that.
at you.
But speaking of like that kind of stuff, some of our listeners that tune into this, they don't know. Corey kind of has bragging rights from on the bump and run side. I believe, is that still the case? I can't remember how you did last year, but I know the year before you won Eldon, and
I got lucky once. Little brother blocked the rest of the pack, and I got lucky once. That how it went, Dylan?
I wasn't there. That was way before my time.
I'm not sure how I did last year. The year before, yes, I won.
Last year, I remember you jumping the dirt pile. That was about it. You went around the corner and tried to jump the hill. Thought he was in the Dukes of Hazzard. Didn't look that cool. Nose dived your Cavalier right there. It was pretty.
You didn't have your
I
old
thought it
man
looked pretty cool.
fist bump.
I bet it looked cool from your side of it. From where we're all like, what is Corey doing?
And while the old man's doing the fist bump out the window.
Making a new lane. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He was trying.
I've never done bad with the old man riding with me.
Before going out there, he's like, I'm going to take it easy, save my car for tomorrow night because the figure eight was right after that. Third lap, he's out there jumping the dirt pile. I'm like, that was not the plan. What are you doing?
Oh yeah, and that's half the drivers that were in that bump and run there at Eldon the night before. They all said, "Man, we're going to take it easy. We're going. You guys are coming out of that second corner right past the announcer and everything. The stage that they have up there, it's coming. But where we stand and stuff, the trailer, man, everybody's wide open. You could hear everyone hitting the rev limiters, and man, Corey's comes flying by. His freaking header is so loud, it just pierces your ears. I literally had to take a couple steps back. You can see it in the video. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be this close. It's so loud. My ears were just ringing, and I was standing. So what I'm standing on is a dirt pile, basically, that's pushed up against a concrete barrier. So when them cars are flying past us, these cars are so loud that they're vibrating the concrete, which is vibrating the dirt that I'm standing on. And I literally had to pick up I had a tripod and I had to pick it up because it was shaking the tripod. I felt like I was at the Daytona 500 or something, and all the NASCARs are coming by. I was like, gee whiz. But that just speaks to the amount of horsepower these guys are running these days and just what they're getting out of their engines. It's impressive.
That was my favorite car, and that was my favorite motor that we've ever run. And I put it in the barn and saved it. And actually, I bought this car this year. I got it from Dylan and Tony, and they said, "Oh, that car's got the best motor in the world in it." So they wanted the motor back. So I said, "That's fine." So he pulled the motor out of it and let them have them back, and I put the old Screaming 2.2 in it, and I'm ready to kick Dylan's ass with his old car and my motor. So
I'm not running the
we're
motor out
ready.
of your car. I actually like the Eldon track. Everybody hates on it, but talking about favorite tracks, Eldon would be top 3 of mine. That's another one that's done me right this past year.
It's coming along. They've added a lot of clay to that dirt. And
I liked it the first 2 times when we went the one way, and then the last race you guys switched up the way you went. I liked it the first 2 races better. I like going that direction.
Yeah. They switched it up just so it didn't hole out very bad.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because we had a lot of events on that track this year, and we just were they did so much work and tilled up the ground so much times that we were really worried about cars sinking. And especially on the Derby side, they want that thing to be hard as the concrete parking lot. I mean, they want it as hard as can be for them drivers.
About like the Speedway track.
Everyone wants it hard, and it saves equipment when you have a really hard track, and especially if it's just got just the perfect amount of water where guys are sliding across instead of breaking stuff on impact. We'd rather you guys break it on each other than the track. So that's why they did that. And we just try to save you guys parts because we know you guys are running. Parts aren't cheap, and you're showing up every week, and you're putting your cars to the ultimate test just by the driving. And trying to avoid other cars sliding into you. And the last thing you need is to hit a big hole in the dirt and break an axle or something like that. They always, I will say something about Jacob and Joshua. They always put the drivers first. And we really hope that you guys see that in them, and they're always thinking of ways to better it for the drivers before anyone. Um, and I'm trying to help you guys out. I've been trying to take the best videos I can with what I got. I mean, I don't have a bunch of money, so
I like the voiceovers
gotta
you
make.
do, like what you did at California with the little voiceovers.
Oh,
Those are cool.
badass.
Hey, you need to do that with every race. That makes them more fun to watch on the TV, I think.
Okay,
No, it's
well,
a
I
lot
can
more
do
work
that.
for you, but I'd rather wait a couple days for the video to come out and you have the voiceovers than it come out like the next morning with no voiceovers. But that's just me personally.
I got a new system, so this system, I think I had from the day I said I was gonna post all the Blizzard Bash videos. Most of them were posted the same day. And I edited every video. So
Yeah.
um I think this new system is gonna work a lot better for everybody this year. Of course Dylan Chilton likes Russellville all day long. I mean that guy, he's freaking hard to beat there.
That's the
He's hard to
champ.
I'd
beat
like it
everywhere.
too if I
Let's
was you,
not just say
Dylan.
just Russellville. He's hard to beat everywhere. Triple crown.
Yeah, that was impressive. I I never thought it would be done, and he does it the second year we even talked about it. It's amazing.
Hopefully, see someone do it again this year.
You never know. I'd put money on it again, but you never know. So, what makes figure eight racing fun for you guys? It kind of you guys probably already answered this, but
I think you already answered that one, didn't you?
Go for it.
Yeah, like Corey said, he answered it earlier, but I agree with him. Just hanging out with all your friends, and then
yeah.
yeah, just getting to hang out in the pits.
Getting a chance to whip your little brother's ass. That's kind of the reason all this started. He was kind of making it too easy. He's a hell of a driver. He's always got equipment that's terrible. And I mean, he kind of builds to the max and he gets down to the last little bit and he might skimp here and there. And we've seen it in New Bloomfield for the first show that they had. He had it in the bag. And I don't know, fuel cell something turned over, but he's 100% better driver than I am. He needs to up his equipment a little.
Zach's very last minute, is what Corey's saying.
Well,
What was it,
I know a lot of people like that.
Richland or Richmond, wherever the seat bar broke out. Zach called me the night before at like 11 o'clock to come get that car. And I don't know why I thought I'd ride with him, but we take it weld in like 30 minutes and take it to the Derby. That's just kind of how it usually goes.
If I get out of the car at the end of the night and I ask, did I beat Zach? Yes or no. If I beat Zach, it's a good night. I'm loading the car. I'm happy. We're going home.
It's usually a no, though.
It's a
We're all like,
victory.
you know you didn't. Come on now.
Yeah, that's always been so as long as I've known you guys. That's what it's been. All right, I got to beat Zach, or I've got to beat Corey. We don't care about anything else. We just want to beat each other. Reminds me of my brothers. That's the way we were. We wanted to win, but we really wanted to beat everybody, including our brothers the most. And it showed. Like we have a few videos. That's kind of why I started doing YouTube, just to have something for everybody to go back and watch. We have a few videos of like old cassette tapes that my mom has, and we hit each other way more than we ever hit anyone else. And it just blows my mind because we all built, together pretty much or pretty close to each other. Right at that time, we were still all living at home with our parents, and we had 3 cars lined up right outside the garage. We'd all be out there working on our cars next to each other. And
That's what makes it fun.
oh yeah. And I mean, we see it all over the sport of figure eight and demolition derby is the camaraderie that you get in the shop, and um, some people say that's all that matters to them, and it really shows. You don't really see it until you get into the sport or you actually go and help someone. Then you're like, holy crap, these guys are dedicated
Oh
for
yeah.
putting so much time into these cars. And if you're there every night helping them along, they really appreciate that. And,
Luckily,
um,
I still live at home, so me and Dad work on the cars together. That kind of makes it fun. And our shop's like 20 feet from our porch, so it's hard to take an
makes
off
it
day.
real
But
easy.
yeah,
Yeah.
You need to get a car lift.
we do. Yeah, we're not rich like you, or else we'd have a car lift. I swear.
So looking ahead this year, 2024, what's in store for wild card racing? Do you guys have anyone gonna represent at Capital Carnage? I think I seen a name on there.
Zach and Braden both got into I think it's the Gut and Go class, what they call it down there for Carnage. So they're both headed down there.
I would say half of us are gonna wear Zach and Braden, and half's gonna wear Fighters. So
Oh, I don't know about
I'll wear it under Zach's.
that. I ain't wearing
No,
Zach shirt. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
It'll be
there'll
a
be a
good
lot of
time.
Missouri cars again this year, and it's always good to see everyone um, branching out to the bigger shows and seeing how they stack up against other states. And
I'm excited for
um,
Braden to go out there. He's been running these small gun goes out there. I keep telling him like, you're in for it when you get out there. He's half nervous and half excited for it. I think he's gonna do pretty good. But
he's got Daddy Zach. He'll be all
that's
right.
what worries me. He's got Zach helping him, but it'll be fun to go out there and watch them too.
I'm heading out for my first time to go watch. I'm not big into the Derby thing. It's not for me, but I'm gonna go watch them.
yeah, it's awesome that you're going to support your brother. And
It's
um,
not during deer season, so we're good.
yeah, you would enjoy Blizzard Bash. That's all I'm gonna say.
It was awesome.
It's
This was my first year going out there was this past year, and it was an experience.
You might not get to enjoy that deer jerky then.
Okay.
Zach asked in our chat. He said, "Is Richland when Dylan wanted to get out of the car?"
Okay. The whole ride down there. So Zach came and picked up that car, and that night he's like, "Are you gonna ride?" I'm like, "I don't know, man, because I've never rode a derby car." The whole ride down there, he's like, "I guarantee you're gonna be a girl and get out." And I'm like, "Zach, no matter what, I'm staying in that car." He's like, "There's zero chance you're staying in." Like it was the joke of the day if I was gonna get out or not. So we're pulling on the track. I'm like, "Just sandbag a little bit. You got a good car, got a pretty good chance of winning it." 30 seconds into the derby, Zach starts backing up, hitting people as hard as he can. Next thing I know, the seat bar breaks. You throw the red flag, and he's like, "You want out?" I'm like, "I have nowhere to sit." So I asked him to let me out, and then I've heard about it ever since. I wish I would have
Yeah,
just taken and laid down in the floorboard and just rode with him. Heard about it
man,
last.
that video, I still watch it all the time. You guys were both sitting in the back seat. Then
Oh,
he
it
goes
still
forward,
hurts.
and then you guys were laying up in the trunk of this car.
It
I'm
was
like,
crazy.
holy crap.
We hit the van the first time, and I felt the seat go back. Well, you threw the red flag. I look at Zach, and I'm like, "What was that?" And he holds the seat bar up. I'm like, "Oh crap!" I didn't know right then we was in for it. So I thought we both kind of agreed not to go backwards anymore. And you got to like 3, and he started going backwards, and it seemed like we went most of the way down the track, just kept picking up speed. I'm like, "This is gonna suck so bad." I didn't have a seatbelt or nothing. I had a ratchet strap across my lap, so I had hold of that thing. I'm like, "Here we go," and sure enough, there she went.
Man, that was crazy to watch. And you both look like you were trying to find something to pull yourselves back
Oh, it
up
was
with. Because,
crazy.
I mean,
We headed home that
at,
night. We both got in the truck, and neither of us were both like, "Oh yeah, we're not sore, nothing to it." And the next morning, I text him. I'm like, "I can barely get out of bed this morning." I'm like, "I freaking hitting the trunk sucks." He's like, "Yeah, I'm about the same way."
I asked him the next day, I was like, you all right, dude? Because
It
you
was.
got to be sore.
I got out. He stayed in it for another 5 to 10 minutes. I'm like, "You're crazy," but he did have the
Oh, yeah,
steering wheel.
every hit he made, he was freaking laying down. You'd see him pull himself back up with the steering wheel or something. I was like, there's no way that steering wheel's straight after this derby.
Yeah, so it was our car, and it came back to our house. Went out and looked at it, and it had wobbles in the steering wheel all over it where Zach was holding on to when he'd hit somebody. I'm like, "This guy's nuts."
Oh, yeah.
That was
Yeah,
another
that
one that kind of started the team thing because that was our car, and he wanted to go down there and run. He wanted to know if he could buy it, and we were like, "Well, let's just build it, put wild card racing on the side of it, and take it. So now he gives me a hard time that he made the team famous because all the views on TikTok. I'm like, more than anything, my big ass hitting the trunk of the car made it famous. I'm like, if it wasn't for me in there flopping, nobody would watch the video.
Yeah. Yeah, that video got a lot of views for sure.
It was crazy. Seems like I've had a couple TikToks that have gotten a lot of views this year.
Yeah. Yep. It makes it pretty easy to put someone on TikTok when they decide to start a demolition derby in the middle of a figure eight.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. How about that, Dylan?
So, you guys have a goal or anything? Something that you're looking to achieve this year as a team, or do
Bring
you have
home
any
some
kind of
gold.
accomplishments you got?
Bring home some gold.
I'd like to win at least one. You know, two would be nice, but I'm not going to get greedy here. Anthony reminds me every day, though. He's like, how are you going to win if I'm too busy winning? He's like, I plan on
Yeah.
being the best out there, so I'm not going to be able to let you win. I'm like, come on, Anthony. You know, let me get one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always the first one that's the hardest. And I've always said that, and people are like, yeah, right. And then they win once, and it seems like it's just like something clicks, and you start winning more, and you start bringing home them checks, and you think you just find something that works for you. And
If it ever happens, we'll let you know. We'll be like, yeah, he was right. But till then, I'm just going to take your word for it.
Last weekend we stopped by DBR's party and tried to get some of that Shilton luck. We'll see if it works out for us.
rub them bean bags a little bit.
trophies. He wouldn't let me rub his head, but we're good.
So, so I'm looking forward to this year. You guys both going to be at the opening show in Russellville,
Oh yeah.
April
I'm
20th.
try if I get the car done. Seems like it's a long ways away, but also the time seems to go by quick right now.
Now we're into a good car.
Yeah, I'm not borrowing one of your cars.
Step up from your Prius.
What calls that?
Have we had anybody that raced a Prius yet?
Not that I know of, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened.
It might happen this year. Right, Dylan?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm waiting to see. You never know. And everybody knows I look at a bunch of cars every day, and there's some cars that come in and I'm like, man, in 2 years, this is going to be the next big thing. And everyone's always looking for the next big thing. It seems like we've got people from other teams that are just trying new cars that you haven't really seen out there much. And you just never know when someone's going to hit on something that works really good for them. And then we see a shift every so often.
When I first started coming, they had that slug bug Beetle out there racing. That was about one of my favorite cars to watch go out there. Like, this guy's nuts. But it looks like he's having fun.
Yeah, that was Daniel Wallenmeyer. And that guy, it don't matter what he shows up in, seems like he does pretty good. He had that big black sedan that had to be close to the wheelbase limit last year at Versailles, and he still put it in the feature. And that guy does good. But you guys got anyone you want to thank for helping you around the shop, or just helping you out, or being there to support you guys?
Corey's got a long list. I'll let him go first. I'm gonna be here a minute probably.
Break out the spot.
Yeah, he's got to get his phone out and just start reading off the list. He's got a lot of help.
I'm sure I'll forget a few. First off, the main sponsors we got are Becky's Towing out of Fulton. That's my biggest sponsor. Follow along with Cardwell Hardwoods. Tony, he's a huge help on the car. And then we got S&S Nationwide Trucking Company out of Jeff City. On-site glass, they pull all our windows out and everything.
I forgot that's a good one.
That's basically it as far as sponsors. And then we got I wouldn't say the car wouldn't be possible, but it would be wouldn't be near as far along if it wasn't for Nick putting in the long hours in the shop. I think that might change maybe when he gets married, but
He's jumping up and down at his house right now.
for now, he's just engaged and we're building cars. But my little brother Zach, he's always a good hand. Dylan, Tony, Anthony, Jake to give some advice. We got a big team of support, so I think we're going to do pretty good. But I think that's about all the sponsors we got.
I don't really got very many sponsors. Huge thanks. I mean, I would not be. I don't even know if I'd be figure eight racing at all, let alone even somewhat competitive. If it wasn't for my dad, he's the idea guy, the builder, the everything. I mean, he's the one that got it mostly started. And then I'd like to thank the Rackers family, Jared, Jaden, and Ryan Rackers, for their help last year. There was a lot of races I wouldn't have made if one for them, and I'm sure they'll get their chance to come watch or help on one this year. And then obviously, I'd like to thank all my teammates for the help and advice that they've given, and it pretty well sums it up.
And I probably better not single out the wife.
Oh,
She might complain about the shop time, but she loves the sport. My 4-year-old is crazy about the Power Wheels and is going to Topeka to do the Power Wheel Derby. And my parents are always ready to lend a hand out.
I'd also like to, I'd like to shout out my sister, Danielle, and her boyfriend, Trey. They've come to a lot of races, love to come and watch and support, and loudest cheering section there. So I'd like to thank them and give them a little bit of a shout out. So that seems about it. A lot of people.
So, who's gonna place higher in points this year?
Dylan's getting his ass kicked for sure.
I really thought you was going to say Dylan's going to place higher me. I figured you'd have more sense than that. I thought he was going to be honest. That's why I let him answer.
You put Zach or Nick in my car, and you're getting your butt kicked.
Me?
Yeah, for sure.
Whew. I mean, there'd be a list of people I think kick my butt, but Zach wouldn't be one of them.
As drivers, what's one thing that you think could improve the whole experience of figure eight, or just a way of getting people the coverage, I should say, into the sport, or getting them to come out and check it out for one time?
You talking about the drivers or the people watching?
Anything. How can we improve it?
I did
As
like the hobo
promoters,
class.
fans.
I did like the hobo class. Maybe try to get their payouts a little bit more so that people will be more apt to do it instead of joining the big cars. Just because like your everyday people that just want to throw a car together and go have fun on a weekend, it's kind of hard for them to compete against some of the more built cars out there. And then maybe a way to get like some of the fans into it, meet the drivers, have pit walkthroughs. I was watching some today, and some people talked about having the kids come back and like sit in the cars and ask questions, stuff. That'd be fun. Or have like hot laps, have the drivers go out and all make a lap so everybody gets to choose their favorite painted car or something. Just something to get the crowd into it.
I like that. Yeah, and that would actually add to the packing of the track. So
yeah, I mean at the circle track they all do it. I mean, you wouldn't have to do an 8, just go out there and have 10 cars go out at a time, make a lap or two, and kind of crowd gets to see what they're getting to watch, and then pull off, get everybody a feel for the track too, figure out where the bumps are or something. Just kind of make it more fun.
So, I ain't asking that. Never mind.
Come on, you gotta ask it. If it's about Corey, ask. If it's about me, leave this one. I mean,
throw it out there, boss.
So if you guys had if we did a team show, would that be something like that for figure eight? Would that be something that you guys would be interested in joining in on?
Oh yeah, we're ready to roll.
It'd be tricky to do. I feel like you're gonna have a lot of cars get tore up if you do a team race, but I still think it'd be a lot of fun. I mean, definitely count us in.
I'm pretty sure Dylan would be up for rent for the night, but
okay, I'd be the first overall pick if they started picking teams. Let's be on our team. Everybody, you and Zach both be begging me.
If any team is looking for a confident driver, we got one for rent.
for rent. He's gonna make money off you. He's gonna be pimping
I
you
love how
out.
Corey's trying to get rid of me, and I was like the first person on wild card racing. I don't know. So as a joke one night, we named Corey Captain. Me and Dad were like, let's just start calling Corey Captain Corey because it just kind of made sense. It went straight to his head. Now every time he calls me, he's like, "This is your captain speaking," or "Listen up," or it's always something with this
Oh,
guy.
If I
that's
had
what the
half,
big C in the background's for, is for captain.
Yeah,
if I had half of the smack talk this one's got, I'd win every race there was.
I'm a humble
Confidence.
I'm a humble person. I do not smack talk.
You're the most confident person I ever seen.
So if you had like a team song, what would be the team theme song that you guys would come out to?
Oh,
Team theme song. I mean,
now you get
oh, if it was me and Corey on a team, probably Thunderstruck.
or Rapid Roy.
Your mud truck. His mud truck used to have Thunderstruck down the side of it, and when I was like 15, I almost ran a big car, and I got a roof sign, and that was gonna be my big car theme was Thunderstruck. I had Thunderstruck
Do
roof
you,
sign and
do you
everything.
not
So
see where this is weird at all? He's been in love from day one.
yeah, he's so full of crap.
Oh, you have any early predictions for the first winner of Russellville?
It's all the way Dylan.
I appreciate Dylan Chilton.
Yeah.
Which
Either one.
Dylan?
Yeah.
There's so many Dylans. You got,
Oh, it's crazy.
or yeah,
You can't go wrong with that.
I would say
that's a good pick.
there's a lot of people that are due. Jordan Piter's due for a win sooner or later.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ever count the DBR team out when you're talking about winners or losers, but I think our team's due for a win too. I want to count either of the Burtons or Anthony or Nick out. I mean, they all got pretty good cars this year. I think we're going to make some noise, so maybe they get done the first one. Seems like just as good as the rest of them to win.
That's all I'm concerned about is making noise.
Corey swears
we
him
know
down. He's not
that.
going to. Corey swears him down. He's not going to bring his new car to the first one though. He's a little worried about scratching it up.
Well, I kind of get that because that first race, you never know. We see new cars and then you see people bring pre-runs just because they're like, man, I don't want to be the only new car there. And then everyone key on that. So
I had to bring my car home and pretty well rebuild it after the first one last year. So definitely, which I kind of like the first one as a little practice run before New Bloomfield. If we have something wrong with the car, get it figured out for our hometown show. If that's still the order it's going to go in this year, I don't know.
I think
sure,
the
pick for
plan is
comeback racer of the year.
Comeback racer of the year?
Yep. Early prediction.
Anthony Wells. He's been out of sport for a few years. Corey says I have a big head. I love Anthony does, but he's got a big head. But I'd say he'd be him or Zach, because Zach was out of it for a year. He's coming back, but I'd say Anthony Wells would be my comeback driver of the year.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting award this year because we got Dustin Jordan coming off an injury.
I forgot about him. Yeah,
he's coming back, and from what, never mind. He might have a pretty good car coming, and
okay. I love the little. Never mind.
And then, I mean, yeah, you got him, and there's a couple other people that told me they're thinking about it, and I just want to see if they do. One of the guys was probably one of the most winningest drivers, I'd say, in around 2014, 2015. And he was hard to beat back then. And I was talking to him a couple months ago, and at that time, he seemed pretty sure he's going to come back out of retirement and see if he still had what it takes. And he said he thought about it last year, but he wanted to build the car right. So he decided not to do it yet. So
excited to see some of the older drivers. And last year being my first year, I could get to hear all about the ones that used to do it. So I'm kind of glad they're coming back to do it some more.
So before the podcast started, I had you guys send me just one extra picture, just something that meant the picture that meant something to you. And see here. Whoops. And We'll start off with you, Dylan, if I could figure out what. Hold on just a second. I'm trying not to exit out of this freaking thing.
I remember what photo I sent you.
I'm sure it's a red car with white letters.
I bet it's a red car with white letters
That's the only
too.
way to do it. Hey, nobody else really had that paint scheme, so it seemed like fitting, you know. I could have painted it purple and sparkly. That got all the little girls excited when you pulled out there.
You see Jonathan's wearing, what kind of hat's he wearing?
Just because I don't have a hat.
Okay.
I believe it's this picture.
Oh yeah.
So just explain to the listeners, because not everybody watches this on YouTube. Most of the people prefer to listen to this on Spotify.
Mhm.
You got to kind of explain what the picture is and why it means something to you.
So the pictures, two red and white cars, just like Corey had guessed, on the trailer. One of them was mine, and one of them was my dad's. It's pretty well sent this one in just because it's, you know, not a lot of people get to do this kind of stuff with their parent, and it's just something we kind of doing together, and makes it exciting to be able to work on with him and compete with him and follow him to the races and just do everything the same. So kind of, you know, just means a lot to be doing this with him. So I figured I'd send a picture of both cars. Even though we have been on the track one time this together, and it was my birthday, he says he let me win, but I'm still not sure I didn't, you know, beat him fair and square. But I hope we get to get on the track again.
Was that the first race of the year last year?
It was. It kind of worked out because I had never done anything like this before. And we pulled out there, I was like about to pee down my leg, but having him out there made me a little more comfortable about just kind of remind me of being out in the field and him hitting me all the time. So that was kind of a good little support to have him out there. And then he was right behind me most of the race, made it a lot of fun. Pretty memorable night. That car will be
I
back.
remember
The 17C Cardwell car. It got pretty tore up last year. Had the transmission go out of it and broke the few things, but it'll be back this year. So that'll be exciting to see it back out there.
you guys, when you guys pulled out on the track, I was like, man, these cars look pretty solid. And so I read Tony Cardwell, and first thing that popped in my head was like, this guy used to derby
Oh yeah, he used to be good
full
at the
size
Derby.
cars, and I was like, no way, that's the same Tony Cardwell. So we all come down there after the race. We're like, is this you the guy that used to derby all the time? They're like, yeah. We're like, holy crap. And
Yeah.
we kind of asked him, like, how'd you like it, and because this sport, you either like it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like he enjoyed his time out there.
He had his moments. He had fun. He said this is a lot more fast paced than the big car derby used to be. He says there's not a lot of down moments, which is very true. But he's looking forward to getting his car back out there.
Yeah. And this one, Corey Burton sent me.
There's my
Becky's
number one
towing
fan.
right here on the front. But
Yeah,
what's
there's the number one fan. He usually gets to wash the car, every time we get ready to load it and head out. He loves the sport just as much as I do, and he's always ready to lend a hand.
That's your car from last year. That son's washing it for the listeners that are not going to be
That's
watching
not
this
his
live.
favorite car. That's not his favorite car, but that's the.
I'm pretty sure my car is his favorite car.
So, who's your son's number one driver? Is it you, or does he have another favorite out there?
I don't know. It's probably a toss up. He likes Uncle Zach a lot, so it's pretty well a toss up.
The amount of funny stories we could tell about Bo, we could be here all night. I walk in tonight. He's standing here at the table, and I'm talking to him. He says, when I get older and turn 18, I'm gonna hit you in the door. I'm just gonna back up. I'm gonna take it to you. And I'm like, geez Louise.
He had to tell me on the way to daycare this morning that Dylan's car won't have a turbo in it, and we need to figure that out because his next car will have a turbo in it, and he will take Dylan out. So
we like to bring them toys when we come over. So if we have something laying around the house, we can give them every time we come over. We give them something else and tell them to rub it in his dad's face.
Yep.
But
Well, there are some turbo car turbo
Oh, yeah.
powered cars that you can find, and you'll probably see a few this year out there. So,
His favorite car is would be the gray car that I started. Well, not the orange car is the one that started out, but whenever I come back in 2020, the car that my little brother gave me is the gray non-eco and really a pile of junk. But uh, my little boy, he really fell in love with the car, and he calls it the Gray Ghost. And we had to finish that car off with letting his grandma drive it at Jeff City in the powder puff, and she pretty well destroyed it. So he's kind of been a little heartbroken, but I think we might patch it together and let some of the younger group drive it at New Bloomfield or something like that. But that's his go-to car for sure, is the Gray Ghost.
yeah,
And
that's awesome.
he shows me, we pull up the video all the time of the Gray Ghost of Nick and I driving it, and it was the race for 28, and Nick looked over at me and he said, "There's no way in hell that we're winning this heat race." And I said, "Yeah, well, we're here. We didn't make the first heat, so we're gonna sign this car up." And I think your brother actually is the one that come to me and said, "You have to sign both cars up or nothing." So I signed both of them up and went out there, and I think it was Shelton, and there was a lot of fast cars. And right before that, they put on a ton of water, and I had some big fat wide V treads, and the car didn't have enough power to spin them, and basically we walked away from them. I mean, we could hear them screaming at our door, and here we are chug lugging along, and we ended up winning it. But it was a fun race, and that's one that my little boy always goes back to and wants to watch, and it's a fun time.
Kind of along the same story as that one. One of my favorite memories from this last year was at New Bloomfield when Braden and Corey drew each other in a heat, because Corey's car was fresh, running sharp, and Braden's was running on about 2 cylinders, like sitting out there sputtering. And Corey just had like the worst luck ever. Last lap, Braden just cuts him off to get the checkered flag, and then I think his car dies or something, and Corey has to push him across the line. But I give him so much shit about Braden beating him that night.
You have to hit your sensitive spot.
It made me so happy. Braden's car's out there sputtering along, and Corey's just back and forth, and just kept having bad luck after bad luck happen. But that was a pretty good time.
Yeah, I felt bad for Braden last year. He put a lot of time into that car. It just never seemed like it was running the way it needed to be.
It had a gremlin in the wiring, and I think we got it figured out now. James Fisher kind of gave us a hand on it, so I think you'll see that car out there making some noise this year, hopefully. He said he's going to try to race a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys got any questions or anything you want to say before we get off here?
Not really. I think we just really want to thank you, especially for doing what you do. You're doing a hell of a job with the podcast, Crashed It, and all that. I mean,
Makes it fun.
you're killing it. And Jacob and Josh for doing what they're doing on the track. It wouldn't be possible without you three. We really appreciate it.
We're trying our best. We are getting ready to start our weekly meetings, as we call them, on the golf course. So
I love playing golf. I'm going Saturday morning.
Well, we're all going tomorrow. So
we really hope Jacob was going to be on here, or Josh, either one, to either give me some grief about some junk or skid steer or something. But we'll get back on here when we can get some grief from them and have a good time.
Yeah, they're the grief givers. I just try to keep it.
I said something to Josh now, and he turns and looks at me and tries to say something. His voice was completely shot. I'm like, that's kind of. He was trying to yell at his players down the court. I felt bad for him because I coach too, and I've been in them moments. But like, he's giving his all out here.
Yeah, them players. He gets frustrated sometimes with them.
I bet he had an interesting group. They came back and beat us though. We were up like 15 at halftime tonight, and Josh's team stormed back. So that don't make me too happy coming into Bloomfield and beating us. Seems like it happens a lot.
That's why I didn't get on here. He's soaking up that win.
Yeah, I bet.
But we look forward to seeing you guys this year. Always a great group to have at a track. Something that you guys always, I walk around and talk to a lot of people, and that's something that, no one ever really says anything bad about your group of guys out of New Bloomfield or anything. And
Surprising.
there's the moments, that happen, but I think everything that happens irons itself out with time. So um I know Dylan White and you guys kind of had a uproaring this last year, but it seemed like that I seen the last couple of races. It seemed like that was out of
That's completely
in the
squashed.
past. So
All of us are good people. Just some stuff happened on the track, but it's over with now. Look forward to seeing them this coming year and talking to them.
no,
That's kind of what we've seen at the DBR party. We're all, humans. We're all going home to our families, just have a good time and race and go home.
Stuff gets heated
yeah.
in competition. I mean, I've gotten into it with a lot of people just playing sports and everything. Everybody gets heated when you're racing or playing anything.
I would rather beat the steering wheel than I would somebody else. You'll see that.
Or you're the person riding with you. Corey will reach over and slap whoever's riding with him in the helmet.
We'll have to throw an in-car cam to see that one of these times.
He needs an in-car cam. See him go out the corner.
Yep, we're working on getting those buttoned up. I've got a few, and can't wait to add that another level to my YouTube channel. And we thank you guys for coming on. Look forward to seeing you. I'll always love visiting with you guys on the track, and probably do some pit walkthroughs at Russellville and stuff. And we're gonna try something a little different.
Pretty sure we need a pit walkthrough at New Bloomfield as well.
It's gonna be a
Yeah.
fun year. It's gonna be a fun year.
I had it all planned last year. I was gonna do a bunch, and I just got busy. Like softball season came, and I was running late to half the shows, like trying to scramble around. And I lost all my mics at New Bloomfield the second show. I dropped them on the ground or something. I was like, geez.
Bloomfield was not a good time last year. I did not like it. Whew.
I loved it.
I was sick and I was asleep in the truck, and I would wake up and go like race my heat, then go back and fall back asleep in the truck. I mean, I could barely get up just long enough to go out there and drive it. I didn't want to miss it because it was a hometown show, but it was a long night. Not my best performance.
Props to you, Corey. All week long before that show, you were sending me Snapchats working on that track, and I think it came around at the end of the night. But
I went
man,
ahead and ripped her up early this year. So
yeah, was that the track you were going to work on? You sent me a
Yeah.
Snapchat.
yeah, we
I
ripped
didn't
her
know
up,
what kind.
ripped it up, let it breathe, and then we'll pack it in, and I'll be there before the fire district gets there.
We just need to tell Ricky Bobby to go out there and be our no water guy, because he beats everybody at the track.
I love that guy. I wish everybody had as much fun as he does. He's always out there having fun.
Just wait till you see his new car. That's all I gotta say. Oh, buddy.
That's what I like to hear.
He's coming to take some names this year.
That's good.
But we look forward to seeing you guys. Like I always go out there, send them and bend them, baby. Thanks for joining in on the Crashed It podcast, and we'll catch you all next time. All right.